Hey everybody, Sam here, and today we're going to talk about a little DIY Neptune Apex gear. And the one for today is going to be this little Molex connector right here that plugs into the Neptune DOS and imitates inside the Fusion app that you have a DDR plugged into your Neptune DOS. Now, if you do it this way, or you actually add the optical sensors to it, you are not stuck with the 2,000 milliliter container that Neptune sells you. Now, the DDR is totally fine for anybody that 2,000 milliliters works for. It does not personally work for me, so I chose to go this route instead. I don't even care about the text messages or notifications when my dosing container runs empty. I just want to know how much is left in it, and this little guy is going to let you do that. So, where we start, I bought everything off of Amazon, and it was about $30 without buying optical sensors. If you want to add optical sensors, you can get them off Amazon or eBay. It's only going to add about another $30 to this project. So what we start out with is these 160 ohm resistors. You do not need this, but I use this for safety because the resistance is supposed to be there between the two pins on the connector. Some simple heat shrink. I actually ended up soldering them together with this cheap soldering iron, all from Amazon, of course. When you buy these connectors, it will come with the male and female together just like that. All we need is the male. Just pitch the female. We don't really care about that. You need a little bit of wire. And it's also going to come with these little tiny male and female pins. Now, if you notice, I'm going to show you a male pin because I've used all of my females, and I actually had to take one of these connectors apart in order to show you this. You don't even need a soldering iron, actually. There's these little crimps that are on here. Focus. And you can just crimp them down. You don't even have to solder this. It's just easier if you soldered, if you know how to use a soldering iron. But I have a couple failed attempts right here in front of me just because I needed to figure out wire gauge size and wire length. And then I ended up going with no wire instead. Actually, it's just much easier. Taking your little 160 ohm resistor, clipping the ends to length that it needs to be, just like how you see on this one. And then I used the female end connectors. I crimped them to it and soldered it. You just bend them on a 90 degree, just like that, here so you can see it. And then you just, now the female pins are not on here, and then you just shove it through the connector just like that. It's very simple. Oh, don't forget the heat shrink, do not. Now, you don't really have to use these resistors. What I have found out, and a couple other people have found out, and I've used it this way, it does work. It's just that the resistance is supposed to be there. So you can literally just use a wire, just bend it. You don't even have to buy the connectors. You actually don't have to buy anything for this project. You can literally just take a little piece of speaker wire, and I've done this, I promise, and just shove it right in the two pins of the Neptune DOS. You don't have to gouge it in there or try and bend or break anything. You literally just put it right in and it will absolutely work. And so now I'm going to take you over to the tank and you'll be able to see what happens. Now that we're right here in front of the tank, you'll see, here's my Neptune DOS. I do not have this plugged in right now. What I did is I actually took it out and I'm going to show you on screen on my Fusion just so you can see. But once you have this little guy built, all you do is just get it right in there, push it in. Sometimes they'll click, sometimes they won't. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else with the DOS. All right, now that we're back at the workstation, I'm gonna pull back up my Fusion app and you're gonna see that now I do have a DDR plugged into my Calcwasser and Acro powered DOS. So we're gonna let that load up real quick and we'll scroll down and boom, there it is. Now I've already had this connected once, so that's why there's already milliliters plugged into it instead of just the stock 2000. But if you just click on the name on the DDR, it will pop up just like you see. First, you're gonna see the software version and all that. I don't think that's ever going to change. And it'll scroll all the way down. You can rename the DOS if you please. And right here, you can enter in the milliliters that you want. It comes with 2000. You can plug whatever you want into it. And my favorite part about this, you don't have to have a DDR to access this. You can just go right inside your settings and do this, but you can just calibrate one single DOS head right here. I love that. I do make sure that my doses are calibrated. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a couple pros and cons of doing this project. Number one would be the ease of use. You get to just open up your Fusion app and see how much is left inside your dosing containers and just top off as needed. Number two would be the amount of money that you get to save even if you do add the optical sensors to this. Number three would be the fact that you get to use any dosing container that you please. Now, for the cons, that would be that in some way, form, or fashion, you could actually end up voiding your warranty through Neptune. I am not reliable in any kind of way of you doing this, and you take it on at your own risk. Now, the second con would be the fact that you don't get the orange and gray, super slick and shiny DDR dosing container. I do like the way it looks, it's just not sizable for me. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video. And of course, if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe and like to this video. Thank you.